on this beautiful, beautiful Monday. I'm out back, but guess what? This isn't about painting. This is not about talk. It is about an inspiring backyard moment with Job. Now let me take a walk before I introduce you to Job, everyone. And so let me get the camera adjusted. So you can go on this journey with me as I talk about Job. Now everybody's probably thinking, Tina, what is going on this Monday? You're talking about Job. Yes, welcome to Outback Inspire. Something hit my intuition today, everyone, when I woke up. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, it was last night. Something just hit me. And you know how I'm very, 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 very ultra intuitive, right? So as you see, I'm set up down there. Hang on for this beautiful journey of Job. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, but Tina, normally you're hugging a tree, dancing around in your shorts that to some of you may be a little risque. Okay, that's just fun stuff, right? But right now, God's wanted me to talk about this, everybody, and I'm a very spiritual woman. I believe in God in my own way. I don't go to church. I believe in God in my own depths of my soul. I pray, I meditate in my own way. But today, this afternoon, I'm going to take you on a journey about Job. Now, all of us are Jobs in some way. Hi, Richard. How are you doing? Don't forget to hang on, everybody, because I'm taking you on this journey of a man called Job. Now, does anybody know who Job is? Can anyone tell me who Job is? Because this is Backyard Inspire right now in this afternoon, and then later on tonight, yes, we'll get back into the tap art. We're going to be doing insanely different things. We're going to be doing sequences. My intuition is going to take you on this wild journey of art that you've never seen. I've actually tapped out some pieces and it hit my grip and even I couldn't even believe it. But right now we're going on a spiritual journey of Job like never before. So I'm walking in the backyard, but Job is down there. But we're going to take you on because this part of life right here, as we know it, we've all been on that Job trip, and you'll get this when you see this, right? So let me walk and talk as I'm going back down to pick Job up. Now you're probably like, Tina, what the hell are you doing today? Because yesterday you were jumping up and down in the yard. Oh no. Hey, listen, everybody. YouTubers, you want to stay tuned. And you know, this is so deep. This isn't even a three-way swivel because each channel I'll be going on talking about Job. So I'm going to start out this because, you know, it could be storming anything, but we're not going to keep going. We're going to keep rolling it. And hopefully God will allow us to talk about Job in such the most interesting, real way, because guess what? Hi, Noah. No, not Steve Jobs. Oh man, you're really out of it, AI. Job is a man that had infinite wealth. Now, everybody, if you know the Bible, you know who Job is, right? And we all have been through segments of Job in one point in time in our life. We've lost things, we've gained things, right? We've had monetary moments where we were on high and monetary moments where we were on low. And we kind of wondered, okay, if there's a God, why are we going through that? But you know, as I sit down right here, Job never questioned God. Now, let me put you on the main the big one here, because this is deep. This is deep. If you want to learn, if you want to know, this is deep today. So let me just take you off of here. Let me slide you off the little mini. Whoop! And let me put you onto this. Welcome to my backyard Inspire with Job. Now, a lot of you, I mean, I have been through a lot like Job. I've lost so much money. I've had to start all over. You gotta kind of wonder if there's really what's going on, if God's there, because guess what? You lost so much. You lost your job, you lost this, you lost that. But guess what? Job never questioned God. It's only the beginning, right? So as I get on here, let me get my glasses, everybody. And you want to hang on, because this is honestly so good that you won't even believe this. Now, I often wondered, I always wanted to start this beautiful Bible study, but I'm not a woman that sits and, listen, I don't go to church, but I do know the Bible. And I do know that right now, we are all going through something, right? Every single one of us are going through this beautiful thing called a test of life. It doesn't matter how rich you are. As a matter of fact, even Elon Musk kind of reminds me of Job in many ways, right? I wish he was watching, because this is so serious. Yes, thank you, Richard. This is so important, because we are all little snips of Job in some way in our life or another. And it never requires us to give up. Let's just take you on this little journey of Job. And I'll stop every once in a while so I can, excerpt in and out. Because I thought just me telling you, I'm not a Bible hound, but listen. So this is a fascinating story.
You thought about life's fairness was challenged. What if the righteous suffered, the wicked prospered, and heaven itself seemed silent in your pain? What if you were stripped of everything, your family, your livelihood, your health, and left with nothing but questions? This isn't just a hypothetical, it's the story of Job, a man whose trials echo across time, offering both mystery and meaning to all who dare to grapple with the hardest questions of life. Did you know Job's trials likely unfolded in what is now modern-day Saudi Arabia or northern Jordan? Picture those lands today, vast deserts bathed in the golden light of dawn, rolling hills blanketed by an eerie quiet, as if creation itself remembers the weight of Job's suffering. This ancient setting witnessed one of history's most profound stories. A man once called blameless and upright, now seated in ashes, his faith tested to the breaking point.
Now you are going to see how important it is that you watch this with me the whole way through. And I will narrate in and out of, because guess what? We are all Jobs in some way or another. But does that mean that we give up because we have lost so much? Does that mean that we give up because we lost our money? Does that mean that we...
and devotion. He was a man who feared God and turned away from evil, blessed with wealth, a large family, and unshakable faith. But all of it, every blessing, every joy, was stripped away in a whirlwind of tragedy. His herds were stolen, his servants slain, his children lost in a sudden calamity. And as if that weren't enough, his body was afflicted with painful sores, leaving him unrecognizable and utterly broken. Yet through all this, Job did not curse God. Instead, he asked the question that haunts us all. Why?
Okay,
What makes Job's story
I am
even...
going to pause here. Like I said, I'm going to pause every once in a while to give you my take on this. Now, Job, keep in mind, was very wealthy, very wise, very intelligent. Job, who loved the Lord so much with all thy heart and all thy soul, never wavered when he lost everything. Now, I'm here in the backyard to talk about Job because I know that right now so many of us are hurting. We've lost our finances, we've lost family, we've lost hope. Just like Job, we've lost a piece of us that makes us wonder what is going on and how will things get better. Let's keep going.
More remarkable is what happens beyond the visible world. In a heavenly courtroom, Satan challenges God, claiming Job's faith is shallow, a product of his blessings rather than true devotion. God allows Satan to test Job, setting the stage for a cosmic drama that explores the deepest questions of human suffering, divine sovereignty, and the nature of faith itself. Have you ever felt like life's trials were more than you could bear? Like the silence of heaven was louder than the prayers you cried out? Job's story is for anyone who has questioned God's presence in the storm. It's a story that doesn't shy away from the hardest truths, yet it offers a hope rooted not in easy answers, but in the unshakable nature of God's wisdom and power. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a richer understanding of the book of Job. Its raw portrayal of pain, its profound exploration of faith, and its ultimate message of trust in a God who is always in control. If you or someone you love is wrestling with...
Let me pause it here for a minute, everyone. So, did you hear exactly what that video said? God, our God, is always in control. No man above and no man beneath, but God is in control. Now, it's unbelievable because even the White House, God tests every single person in control to see if they'll falter, to see if they'll fall. Because after all, we're all Jobs in some aspect. We're not perfect, but we might believe, a lot of people might believe in God and go, okay, I never see him, but I believe in something. But something is better than nothing, because Job had everything, and he had the love of God so deep, and he sacrificed so much every single morning. Job, this very powerful, wealthy man, honored God, woke up early in the morning, sacrificing something, because he believed in God so powerfully and so much. And what did the devil do? He snuck in and tested God and said, that man is not faithful to you. And what did God say? Let's just check this. Let's proceed.
This is the Deep Bible Stories video you need to watch. Let's step into the land of Uz, journey through Job's trials, and discover the timeless truths of a story that still speaks to us today.
Yes.
As we leave behind Job's stories, timeless questions, let's step back into the world that shaped it. Who wrote the book of Job? Was it a divine revelation penned by one inspired author, or a tale passed down through centuries of oral tradition, finally woven into the intricate poetic masterpiece we read today?
Let's just get through this commercial and then we'll talk. So as you sit and listen, because listen, those who don't listen are those who are afraid of the truth of that Job that they are enduring right now, right? Because there's so many of us that are that Job inside.
is as intriguing as the story
Let's listen.
itself,
Come on, everybody.
inviting us to explore not only its origins, but also the world in which Job lived.
Have an
Unlike
open
other
mind.
biblical books with clear authorship, Job's writer remains unnamed. Some suggest Moses, given the book's ancient tone and theological depth. Others argue for Solomon, whose wisdom aligns with the profound reflections within the text. Still, many scholars believe the book of Job evolved from oral traditions, stories told around fires and passed through generations, preserving the timeless truth of God's sovereignty in the face of suffering. Could it be that Job's story is a testimony so sacred that its author preferred anonymity, allowing the narrative to point solely to God? Job himself stands as a towering figure, not just in faith, but in history.
Oops,
The
sorry.
Bible introduces him as the greatest man among all the people of the East. Job 1:3. Imagine a man whose wealth was unparalleled, thousands of sheep, camels, oxen, and donkeys grazing across vast lands, with numerous servants managing his household. Job wasn't just rich in possessions, he was rich in integrity. His faithfulness to God was legendary, evidenced by his daily sacrifices on behalf of his children, ensuring they remained covered by God's grace. In Job, we find not just a man of faith, but a patriarch whose life reflected the spiritual and economic prosperity of his time. But where exactly did Job live? The Bible tells us he resided in the land of Uz, a name shrouded in mystery. Many scholars suggest this region lay east of the Jordan River, encompassing parts of modern-day Saudi Arabia, northern Jordan, or southern Iraq. Imagine the vast deserts of this region, the rugged terrain, and the nomadic communities that thrived there. The land of Uz was likely a crossroads of ancient trade routes, a place of both prosperity and vulnerability. This setting adds richness to Job's story, placing his trials in a world where wealth could be fleeting and calamity could strike without warning. To truly understand Job's world, we must also consider the cultural and spiritual landscape of the time. Ancient societies often equated prosperity
Now
with
let me
divine
put my
favor.
take into this really quick. So maybe I won't show all of that, but a lot of that video. So let me just, because I watched the whole thing and I do know the book of Job, because guess what? Every single one of us, and this is Backyard Inspire, little Bible study for your soul, to wake your soul up, not just to make you feel bad on this day, but to make you think about things that you've never thought of, that you're going through in your life absolutely right now. And guess what? It could be a test from God. Because all of us are tested like Job. Now, when you're sitting there and you're thinking, wow, you know, actually I lost my job, that's a little piece of Job inside of you that was tested, to see your endurance, to see if you endure so much and still never waver from the person who woke you up this morning, which was God. So, when Job was tested so deep and so insanely brutal, because Jesus actually, when Satan said, he is not true to you, God said, yes, he is. And the devil said, let's see. And guess what happened, everyone? God put Job out there to be tested by the devil, to see if he would falter, to see if his faith would falter. Job lost his family, his wealth. As a matter of fact, he darn near died. But God said, you cannot take Job's life, You can take everything that he has to test Job and his faith about me, but you cannot take Job's life. And did the devil test Job? Just like he tests you every day when you wake up. He tests you through your marriage. The devil, do you realize, will put people, as soon as you open your door, guys, to walk out your door, the devil has a woman standing there waiting. Beautiful, lustful. He's testing your marriage. And the devil does this like he tests Job, to see your strength, to see your passion, to see your faithfulness. Don't fall for it, because you're Job and the devil is testing you. When it comes to your money, look how Elon Musk was tested and lost billions. The devil tests you over and over to see if you will fall into that trap, to see if you will falter and keep going on and keep losing and losing until you realize that, guess what? It wasn't worth it. So God offered Job, who was so faithful to him, beyond any man, even the disciples that sat next to Jesus. Job was probably absolutely more faithful than them, because after all, a disciple did turn against Jesus. So you're saying, Tina, what's the moral of the story today? This is just my little Outback Inspire. Don't be tested by what the devil is trying to do to you. We're all like these Jobs. We all have something that we can lose, and damn near our lives. But it's how you push back up against that test that matters the most. It's not about testing God's will. It's about testing your will as man. Now, Job, he was tested in a different way. He was tested, his faith of God. But your test each day it's also a test of Jesus, but it's a test of your will, your strength, your endurance to say no or say yes to a situation, to know when it's right and to know when it's wrong. And the devil tests every single one of us every day with a test of endurance. Like, guess what? He tested Job up against Job's faith against God. So now, when we wake up each day, it's like the devil tests us in a different way. He not only tests our strength of how we're going to handle a situation, right? How we're going to handle humanity, as a matter of fact. And as we see, the devil is testing our leaders and their humanity. He's testing each one of us to see how strong we are in the confines of what is happening in our country and around the world. The devil has his grip and laughing and going, I'm going to test them. I'm going to break them. I'm going to shake them until there's absolutely nothing left. Will they withstand the endurance? Or will they keep going? And as we see right now, the devil is having his way. He's having his way. But guess what? Just like Job did, Job went through the fire and came back out it again. And so can you. So, the boldness of Job is, blessed be the name of the Lord thy God, with strength and mercy so insane that no man that cometh against me shall prosper. No man that tries to breaketh one down shall ever be the head, but they will eventually be the tail. So remember this, everyone. Like Job, okay? Like Job. Let's take this story on the next adventure. So we're going to find out actually what Job really endured, because you will see Job endured so much. And you're probably saying, Tina, but why didn't you go to the book of Revelations, where as a matter of fact, our world seems to be mimicking right now the book of Revelations? And you're probably like, Tina, but why didn't you show us the book of Revelations? That's another day. Because yes, you're absolutely right. Right now in our world, we are seeing mountains crumble. That's in the book of Revelations. We are seeing leaders become dictators. We are seeing wars, everyone. And it's endless. And every single piece of what we're actually, people are seeing things in the sky that they're taking pictures of. And every single thing about that is in the book of Revelations. Mountains will crumble. People will fall. It's all actually happening, everyone. It's actually happening. I don't know what's going on here, but there's something going on there. But it's actually happening. And as man, what can we do about this crumble? Because right now, the devil is having insane ways over everyone's life, turning their minds upside down, turning humanity against one another. But just like Job, and that's why I started with Job, because we're all going through something that Job has went through. So let's just watch a little bit more of Job.
And suffering with divine punishment, a worldview echoed by Job's friends later in the story. Economically, Job's wealth represents the pinnacle of agrarian success, while spiritually, his devotion stands in stark contrast to the idolatry and moral decay of surrounding nations. Job's story challenges these simplistic views, revealing a God whose plans transcend human understanding. As we uncover the layers of Job's world, we're reminded that his story is not just ancient history. It's a reflection of universal truths about faith, integrity, and perseverance in the face of adversity.
That's exactly
As we move from the mysterious origins of Job and the world he lived in, we now turn to the man himself, a figure so revered that even God declared him unique among men.
Amen.
Job's character is introduced with some of the most remarkable words ever spoken about a person. There was a man in the land of Uz.
If I wanted hair hanging
land
down
of
my
Uz.
back like the
So-
ancestors blessed it personally.
So everyone, as you're coming on and thinking I'm devilish, this is actually straight out of the Bible. Okay, there's no devilish stuff to this. And so only the people that's ears are supposed to hear this obviously are going to hear it and understand it and get this. And so let's just get on with our Bible study.
And that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and shunned evil. Job 1:1. Imagine having your entire life summarized in such glowing terms. Who was this man, and what made his faith so extraordinary? Job was not merely a wealthy man, but a man whose wealth was matched by his integrity. To his family, he was a devoted father. To his community, he was a figure of influence and respect. But most importantly to God, Job was a man of unparalleled reverence and faith. This is not to say that Job was sinless, as no man but Christ has lived without sin.
Amen.
But he was blameless in the sense that his heart was steadfastly aligned with God. Job's life was marked by a desire to please God, not out of fear of punishment, but out of genuine love and devotion. Central to Job's character was his unwavering commitment to worship. Job wasn't content with the surface rituals of religion. His devotion was deep and heartfelt. The opening verses of the book tell us that he would regularly rise early in the morning to offer sacrifices on behalf of his children, saying, "It may be that my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Job 1:5. This act of intercession reveals a man who cared deeply for his family's spiritual well-being. Imagine the scene. Job kneeling before an altar as dawn breaks over the desert, offering prayers and sacrifices not for himself, but for his children's unseen sins. This detail about Job's life speaks volumes about his faith. Job understood that righteousness was not just a matter of outward behavior, but of the heart. He was not only concerned with his own standing before God, but with the spiritual condition of his family. How many of us can say we approach our relationships with such prayerful concern? Job's intercession challenges us to consider, do we stand in the gap for those we love, bringing their needs before God with the same fervor? But Job's devotion wasn't confined to his family. His integrity extended to every part of his life. The Bible describes him as upright, meaning he lived with honesty, fairness, and a commitment to doing what was right, even when no one was watching.
Wow.
He was the kind of person others could trust.
Now,
The kind of leader.
how many people right now, excuse me, how many leaders, everyone, are upright, honest, enduring? Listen, like Job.
His word carried weight
His
because
word
it was
carried
backed
so
by
much.
consistent action.
Amen.
In Job, we see a man who embodied the values of justice and mercy, qualities that reflected God's own character.
Hold on one second. We got to get through the commercials. But Job was this beautiful, honest man, very humble to the core. Job had so much success, but he was so kind to everyone. Let's just watch this.
Remarkable is Job's relationship with God. The text tells us he feared God and shunned evil. This fear wasn't the trembling fear of a slave before a harsh master. It was the reverent awe of a son before a loving father. Job's life was centered on God's will, and his actions flowed from a deep respect for the Creator. He actively turned away from evil, not because he was trying to earn God's favor, but because he wanted to honor the one who had already blessed him so abundantly.
Yes.
Now, let's pause for a moment and reflect. What would someone say about your character if it were written down?
Whoa.
Would you be described as faithful, upright, and reverent like Job?
Ooh.
Or would your life tell a different story? Job's example challenges us to consider the legacy we are building, not just in terms of material wealth or achievements, but in the integrity of our relationship with God and others. In a world that often values success over character, Job's life stands as a beacon of what it means to live with integrity. He was a man who walked closely with God, even when the blessings of life tempted him to rely on his own strength. His wealth didn't corrupt him. His influence didn't inflate his ego. Instead, Job's life was a testament to the truth that real success is found in faithfulness to God. But Job's story doesn't remain in this idyllic beginning for long. His character,
So-
a steadfast...
Job was so steadfast, everyone. Just like they said, he was an upstanding human. He was kind toward all, even his servants. Job lost everything. Now let's take a walk. And later on, maybe I'll get back and we can finish Job. But because it's already over half an hour into it, and I swear they're about a thunderstorm. Let me take a walk and let me pack this stuff up, and we will pick this right back right where we started a little later on, because I want you to hear all this, and it is a long story about Job, but the peace that Job puts upon our hearts, everyone, and what he suffered and what he endured is something that a lot of us could never even imagine. The strength of God, and God saying, okay, devil, okay, you can have Job, but you can't take his life. He is 100% faithful to me. You can break him in imaginable ways, but guess what? He is faithful to me. Now, as I pack up this stuff, I was wondering this, everyone. Job, he lost everything. Being upstanding, being upright, being this beautiful, euphoric, good human. How many of you have lost something today? And actually even lost hope in God because you thought, man, I loved my wife and she is gone. I loved a child and we lost it. I loved my animals and suddenly my animal died. Why, dear Lord, why did you take such beautiful things from me? And God responds, why not? For those are not to be cherished. Let's get on. Let's pick it up and go for a walk. So keep this in mind, everyone. So when we're sitting around and we're cherishing things, right? We're cherishing our loved ones. Yes, we should. We're cherishing our animals, which we should. But one thing God says, above all, we cherish Him. We don't cherish those things that make us feel good in our hearts. Yes, that's temporary. And we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised today at any given time. And that is why God never promised us tomorrow. Because those things are unshakable and can be easily taken away. I heard a story yesterday that shook my heart, but guess what? It really didn't. A friend of mine said, you know, a friend called and said that his wife had passed away at 40 some years old. And they think it was from the COVID shot. And he was so devastated, the guy, that he couldn't even prepare his wife's funeral because they had a couple small children, and this was just recently, just a few days ago, that my friend's friend had to go out and prepare his sister's funeral because her husband was so devastated at the loss. But do you know in the Bible it says that we really shouldn't even cherish loved ones. We love them because they're here on the earth. But we are never promised tomorrow. Never, everyone. We lose animals, we lose this, we lose loved ones, we lose husbands, we lose wives, we lose friends. But you must remember something in loss. There's always something in gain. Because none of us are to cherish no one but God. So God taketh away, and then He replaces to let you know that what He taken away was never meant to be cherished. Remember that, everybody. Let's get up and walk. So as we cherish things in our life that can easily be taken away, and we sit and we don't cherish the one who actually gave us life, which is Jesus. There's something to be said about that. So when I hear that there's a loss of something, a loss of the animal, a loss of life, a loss of love, how dare that love life end? But you cherished it so much that you didn't even cherish God that much. And you wonder why that love life left. You wonder why that your animal died. You wonder why your money's gone. Ye who cherishes things like that, lose that forever. And only God can replace it back, right? Let's walk so we don't get struck by lightning. Never, everyone, never cherish things that are not meant to be on this earth permanently. Remember that as the storm's rolling in. Never cherish things that are never meant to be on this earth forever. None of us, absolutely none of us, are meant to be on this earth forever. So cherishing our pets that died, that comfort us through heartache, pain, sorrow, or bliss of life, it was never meant to last on this earth forever. So let me sit this down, and I'll get into this really quickly as I sit in the grass, and hopefully we don't get struck by lightning. I'm just sitting this up here really quickly so that way we have everything right here at the door in case the lightning starts coming, right? Seriously. Ooh, do you see that sky? No, I'm not going to take that chair. All right. So, as Job went on, and literally Job, to be honest with you, Job lost everything. Job lost everything so much to the point where anything that was left to lose was, guess what, Job's life. But God said to the devil, you can take everything of Job's, but you can never take his life. That is only for me to take, not for you. So what did that devil do? Yeah, he took everything from Job. Took Job down to nothing, and Job went down on his knees and said, blessed, O Lord Jesus, for you are King. Job honored God, even though he lost everything that he worked for. His money, his family, his crops, his cows, his servants. And Job never wavered from God's love. And guess what Job did? He didn't care that he lost wealth, because that was not the focal point. Because guess what? We're not supposed to cherish wealth, because everything like that is temporary. And a lot of people don't realize that. People cherish so many things, even cars. They cherish things that are meant to be honestly temporary. Let me find a spot down here to sit in this grass. So, as Job went on, and God just allowed the devil to have his way, and you gotta kind of wonder, like, wow, okay, why did God, our God, allow Job to be so chastised by the devil? And even I sit and wonder that, like, God, what was the breaking point? Like, why did you leave the devil go so far as to take everything from Job, who loved you so much, who honored you, who woke up every morning and bowed down to you? And God says, for those things are temporary. For me and my love that he loves so much is everlasting. So remember that, everyone. When you cherish things and then you suddenly lose them. It could be a job, a family member, a child, your car, because you can't afford to pay for it, your home, and you have to downsize, or hell, even live in a camper. God says those things are never to be cherished. They're used for shelter, for comfort, but never to be cherished. I know I'm sweating so hard out here, everybody, but I just thought I gotta do this backyard about Job, right? Because we're all living in this Job stage right now, where we've lost something so serious. And it's not about losing material things. Even money is material things. So when we lose it, God has an amazing way of giving it back. Job got everything back tenfold because he honored God in the wicked fires of the devil, and the devil saying he is not faithful to you. So when God picked Job back up, right? So when God picked Job back up and put Job's feet on solid ground, God can do that right for you, everyone. It doesn't matter what you lost, because what you lost, God will bring that back tenfold if only you believe. And I know there's people coming on and they're just evil, and I don't really care, because they, as a matter of fact, don't even know the Bible. That's why they're throwing brimstone and fire at me. But when you lose something, you're not losing it. It's God taking that away and going, no, I don't want you to cherish that. I took that away, but I will replace that back even better if you believe. So when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about people that have lost so much, loved ones, pets, do you realize that God replenishes that back? It was their time. A lot of people sit and go, well, I lost my fortune. Everything happens for a reason. This is how life works, everyone. Life is this ever winding clock, right? The clock just keeps going in a circle, right? That is, as a matter of fact, life. You know, I don't like squares. I always like circles, because this is how life goes, like this. It's an ever winding circle. And each time our life turns like this, right? We lose, we gain, we lose, we gain, we lose, we gain. And that's the evolution of our life. And, you know, even when Job lost his fortune, God blessed him so big time back, because he saw that he was willing to give up everything he had, because he loved the Lord. He honored the person who woke him up. So what I wanted to say to everyone is, you know, if you lose something, it's never gone. A family member, if you lost them, they're never gone. If you lose your animal, well, the animal's never gone, because God says he'll replace that back. Never feel like something's gone that you lost. Because when you have faith, what is lost will return to you tenfold. Remember that. So as the wind now is blowing and giving me some comfort and some rest, thank you everyone for watching this, because I wanted to get this out there, because on this beautiful backyard Inspire, if you lost your job today, guess what? There's always a better one ahead. Always a better one ahead. Do you realize that? It may not be the 4-leaf clover that you had. This is a 3-leaf clover. but it's always better days ahead. Always remember that. And remember this, everyone. Do you know that God gave every single one of us a beautiful talent to make money? Do you realize that? So when you lose your job, maybe that's God telling you it's time for you to start getting your talent out there that he gave you to make money. And you're probably thinking, but Tina, how can I do it when I have nothing? I have nothing to start. I have no capital to start. Well, do you think God as a carpenter had capital to start? Absolutely not. Do you think that getting scraps from a scrapyard to build whatever you got to build and turn it into a masterpiece can land you some money? Only if you have imagination. Ye with little imagination goes absolutely nowhere. Do you know that? Well, that's just something I came up with. Because if you have no imagination, how are you going to elevate? So I you know, a lot of people go, Tina, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? I'm a very private person, but I'll tell you what I do. I do things my way. I don't fall down to the masses of what things done their way. I do things my way. You do things your way. And watch these doors of endless possibility open, everyone. Because if you do things your way, no one can take that away from you. Do you understand that? No one but God can take away that. When you do things your way. No boss, because you're the boss. No, nobody. So when people ask me, Tina, what do you do? I do things my way. I don't fall into the masses box of bullshit. After all, God gave me the ability to have so many talents. Why not use them? After all, God has given many of you the ability to do so many things, and you don't even use it to make money. Not one thing. I know so many people with so many abilities, and they don't even use it. That's crazy. But I'm not going to hold you up long. Thank you for watching. And just like Job, God gave him what he lost back tenfold. So just when you think that everything that you endured, lost, went through, helping people, this, that, and you think you lost it, that was just a test that Satan tried to break you. And God said, I'm going to make that person. Because that person endured everything that was thrown at them by the devil, like Job. Job was thrown everything. He lost everything. And God saw Job was so faithful. So faithful. He knew it. He knew Job was faithful. He knew Job had this beautiful way about him. He knew Job was intelligent. And he knew Job had endurance, like many of you. So, only the strong survive, right? That is actually true. Because not many withstand the pressures of Job, like Job did. Some falter and can't handle it, right? Not everybody's a Job. Remember that. Not everybody's a Job. Do you realize the beautifulness of a diamond everyone. A diamond is made under pressure, immense pressure. Do you realize that? A beautiful diamond is made in immense pressure. And just like you, you're that diamond. And there's days where you go under that immense pressure. But it's how you never give up when you're in that pressure cooker, like that diamond, and it's squeezing, and life's squeezing on you hard. And you're taking pop shots at work, and you're just like, damn, what's going on? I'm trying to hang in here, and it just keeps getting worse. No, just like Job, you're tough. And just like that diamond, diamonds are so strong under pressure until they become this beautiful diamond. Never think that the stresses of your job, stresses of life, the stresses of family, that's nothing that you cannot handle, everyone. I'm telling you, that's just pressure to see how beautiful you can come up out of that, right? That pressure. Because without pressure, there is no progress. I'm telling you, without pressure, there is, gosh dang it, no progress at all. I don't care what job you have. I don't care if you're the CEO, the FOO, the President of the United States. If you cannot endure that pressure like that diamond, step back. Because a diamond is in pressure to be successful and become that beautiful diamond. What is under pressure, and if you can endure it, wow, that's priceless. Because not everybody can endure it. Not everybody can endure the workplace pressures, everyone. I'm telling you right now, I know so many people that workplace pressure, that ain't no joke, everybody. People talking behind everybody's backs. Ain't nobody getting along. Everybody's fighting. That shit will eat you up at the end of the day, only if you let it. Be like a duck and let that shit roll off your feathers. I'm not joking you. When you're at your job and in that office and shit's hitting the fan, everybody, you step back and you be the better person. You step back in quietness and in patience. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You will win the race every time. Because you're inside, you're in that pressure cooker like that diamond. Stay fast, steadfast. And never let them see you sweat. I know I'm sweating. But never let them see you sweat. Because life without pressure, a situation without pressure, will never succeed, everyone. I'm telling you. Because if everything, listen to this. If everything goes good in your day, I mean just everything's perfect, there's no pressure. And then suddenly, when that pressure hits and you're not prepared for it, you will actually fall. Because you're so used to everything being good. You gotta have that amount of pressure to be under, to be successful in anything. Successful in fighting a war. You gotta be under pressure. Successful in running your business. You gotta have freaking pressure. Pressure, honest to God, equals success. Just like Job was under so much pressure that he just, it was eating, even things eating Job's flesh to break him from that pressure. And Job stood strong. And even the sores that were put on Job's body didn't even break him, everyone. So what the moral of the story is, that it doesn't matter what position you are in on this earth, in this life. Pressure is not a bad thing, because pressure equals a strong endurance person. Pressure equals strength. Pressure equals never backing down. Because if everything is so smooth, you will never win that race. Never. Remember that. I can remember when I was a child and 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 the teacher said to my mother, oh, well, she's a slow learner. And my mom says, no, I'm going to give her pressure. So when I was a little girl, I was beyond this life, something just inside of me. And nobody could figure me out. Hell, you can't figure me out to this day, and I can't even figure my own self out. But one thing my mom never done to me, and I was her only daughter, was coddle me at all. She wanted me to feel the pressures of the world, and she literally did. She didn't coddle me at all. I had to feel that pressure. She wanted me to feel that pressure because pressure equals endurance. And my mom always told me, I'm not going to live forever. I can't, I'm not going to coddle you. Her only daughter. Do you know that was the best thing that my mom has ever done for me, is not coddle me with nothing. I had to learn things on my own. The best medicine is the endurance that we even give our own kids, everyone, because when we even coddle our own kids, how are they to learn? How are they to be under that pressure and be able to handle it, right? So even as I went to school and my mom never said anything, she wanted me to tell her, I didn't say nothing. She just left me go through pressure, right? And see how I handled it. That was the best medicine of my life, is going through the different pressures, right? Because I had to learn different things. And it taught me to be this person I am today. But if you don't go through pressure, you'll never know what you're capable of doing or what you're not capable of doing. Even your kids. I know people that coddle their kids, but in a situation, is that good? Because they're never under pressure, right? The best thing to do is you got to stay under an optimum healthy amount of pressure to succeed, everyone. Never look at pressure in a job situation or anything as bad medicine, because guess what? That is the best situation that you could ever put yourself in, is that optimum pressure, because that will either make you or break you. It will tell you exactly who you are when you're under pressure. Let's get up and walk a minute, and I'll end this. I don't want to talk too long, but I want to enclose this with pressure. Okay, let's just talk about pressure real quick, because a lot of people endure it. You know, a lot of people at their jobs right now, believe it or not, are experiencing pressure. It could be pressure from coworkers, pressure from bosses, but I'm here to tell you, it's how you deal with that pressure that matters the most. Nah, don't deal with it with haste. Don't deal with it with arguing with people. Deal with it with calmness, with still, because after all, you're under pressure. And pressure equals success. Pressure equals endurance. You must have that adequate amount of pressure, everybody, to live life. Because if you don't have pressure, just like Job, you will never make it, everyone. You will never make it. Life is not a rose garden. I'm telling you, it's not a rose garden. You have to actually go through that pressure point to be successful. You actually have to go through losing things to be successful. You have to actually just gut it up to be successful. You have to sit in those boardrooms that you're like, oh my God, boy, I survived this. That's the pressure of that diamond. That's the pressure of Job to be successful. So remember that, everyone. We're all Jobs in some way or another, whether you're at your job, whether you're in your own, having your own business. That's a whole nother story of pressure. Because like me, I work for myself. And if you are not strong enough to endure that pressure, that's a whole nother pressure. But not, because pressure equals success. And pressure puts you in a point where you either make it out or you stay there and die. Remember that. So with pressure comes success, or pressure can come failure. It all depends how you look at it, everyone. I myself look at pressure like success. I look at pressure like a badge of honor. Because if I was never under pressure, I wouldn't be the woman I am today and be able to endure things. So everyone, don't ever take pressure as a sign of weakness, as a sign of failure. As a matter of fact, take it as a badge. Wear it strong. You'll be a winner every time. Because when you're put under pressure, nobody can take that away from you. When you're standing firm, you're standing strong, not no one. Because God wants you to have that kind of pressure that makes you sing. He wants you to have that kind of pressure, like, I took everything from this person, or they're about to lose everything. But this pressure that I put them under is either going to make them or break them. It's either going to keep them in that job position, or it's going to make them lose that job position. What do you want? So when you stand strong under pressure, you're the winner. You can never be a loser. You can never be a loser, everyone, under pressure. Did you hear me? So when you lost that job, you're a winner, because there's always something down the road. Working for yourself, doing something, a side hustle. You're under pressure, and that is you, like a diamond under that pressure. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you when I see you, which is tonight, to do some tap art. Gotta get going and get ready for vending tomorrow, actually. I called Mr. Butch, and he's already getting ready for vending. We love vending. It's awesome. And that's pressure, right? So, I love yous, everybody. Thank you for letting me take you on that story of Job and the pressures that Job went under, right? But then, after Job went under that pressure, God made that happen tenfold. Tenfold, everybody. Remember that. God made Job tenfold a success story. I'll see you then.